Yesterday, Rasul Douglas was asked at his locker, what's the overall issue with the Packers? What's going on? Why are the Packers 3-6? And he said, we suck because we suck. And I was like, well, that's a stupid. No, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Welcome to another episode of Lombardi Time Brews. I am your host, John Delray. Before we dive into today's topic, first of all, welcome to our new subscribers. Second, sorry the schedule just got horrifically off this week. Generally, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then some game content. But yeah, this has been a week from hell. So I'm very sorry that the schedule has gotten all off. This is going to be published on Thursday, and then of course on Friday. As always, I have the day completely clear tomorrow, so you are going to be getting the game preview tomorrow, Friday, as scheduled. But today I wanted to hop on here. I wanted to offer my expanded thoughts that I was alluding to in the last video about Aaron Rodgers. Wanted to give some thoughts on Darnell Savage and the defense as well, which partly potentially has been resolved since I last talked about it, so maybe, we'll see. And then also, holy goodness, what an injury report for you today. So let's start off with the Packers' brand new addition. They claimed Jonathan Abram off of waivers from the Las Vegas Raiders, the former first-round pick. He was in the same draft class as Rashawn Gary and Darnell Savage. The Raiders, however, as opposed to Savage, the Raiders opted not to pick up the fifth-year option on Jonathan Abram. And there's a litany of reasons for that we're going to get into. But ultimately, they decided that he wasn't going to be worth the investment to keep him around for a fifth-year option. And not only that, but the Raiders have become, they're like an AFC equivalent of the Packers, really. They are just turmoil right now. So they decided to make the bold move and release Abram now. The Packers, as they're swimming nowhere quickly, decided that they could use a little bit more flexibility in their secondary, and if not that, then at the very least they've got a guy who has quite a bit of special teams experience, specifically under Rich Bisaccia as well, who could come in and help in some way, shape, or form at a pretty decent price. You might as well bring in a former first rounder and see if Joe Barry, don't laugh, but see if Joe Barry and the rest of the staff could bring out talent from him that just hasn't been shown in Vegas to this point. Here's a little background on Abram. Thus far in the NFL, this is his fourth year. His rookie season, now again, this is PFF, take it for what you will, but his rookie season at a PFF total defense grade of 38.7. His sophomore year, he somehow got worse, 36.8. Then he rebounded with a strong junior campaign, 56.9, and thus far on the year, he's sitting at 49.5. Now, how does he get to that grade? Where does he struggle? Well, first of all, the good. He has athletic traits to the moon and back, kind of similar to Darnell Savage. But here's the bad. Again, kind of similar to Darnell Savage, the guy really struggles at tackling, especially tackling in space. It is a struggle for him. Also, in terms of coverage, he's not the best at coverage. In a lot of ways, they kind of went and got a Josh Jones. I saw one NFL scout, I think Tom Silverstein mentioned him in the article, mentioned that this is kind of a poor man's Jamal Adams. Okay, so, coverage is not his strong suit. Every year he's been in the NFL, that there are extended stats for, he's given up at least a completion percentage of 70% on passes that he's been targeted. He has given up 11 receiving touchdowns while only having 12 pass breakups. So the guy can't tackle in space, and he struggles in coverage. We picked up another Darnell Savage is what it's appearing to be. So how does this change things, right? Especially with Eric Stokes out. What's the point here? Well, like I said, you're getting a first-round talent, or someone who was once upon a time thought of as a first-round talent. You get him for the remaining 8 games of the year at a cost of about $1 million because they have to pick up what's left on the salary since it was a waiver claim. So about $1 million. He's very familiar with Bisaccia. He's good friends with Keyshawn Nixon, who yesterday said that they're BFFs for Everest. So that's good. You know he would know Dallin Levitt. I mean, Bisaccia is bringing in guys that he likes. And you have to believe that if Brian Gutekunst was considering making this move, that he would talk to Rich Bisaccia about Jonathan Abram, what Bisaccia saw in his time there from interim head coach and special teams coordinator, what he thinks of him as a man. You would have to think that that background has been discussed, right? And Bisaccia, more than basically anyone in the NFL, is going to know Jonathan Abram well. So that lends itself to positive thinking, right? So what does it overall mean for the defense? Well, Joe Barry has talked about how he believes that Darnell Savage would be an unbelievable nickel. And we know that Savage does have the traits. He showed some of them with slot coverage in college. Darnell Savage is not a great tackler, but he's a lot better of a tackler in confined space as opposed to in open space. So again, the nickel may help with that. So does that mean that they want Abram to play free safety? Because then you're kind of replacing Darnell Savage with a Darnell Savage clone. Or is this an opportunity potentially to get Savage to the nickel, get Rudy Ford in at free safety, who has played quite competently in the snaps he's been given thus far, and then you've got Abram as actual safety depth. As a special teamer, he's logged over 200 special team snaps in the last couple of years for Bisaccia. So there's possibilities here. I'm very intrigued to see how the Packers are going to utilize him. Ultimately, it was a very low-risk move for a very low cost. Yes, if they didn't make this move, they could have taken that $1 million and rolled it onto next year's cap. But look, the money that's left on the salary cap right now, I mean, they still have 8 games to go. They're going to be signing guys. There's going to be tweaks. There's going to be, like, that money is not static. There's no way it was going to stay static through 8 more weeks of football. Maybe you bring in Abram. Maybe he really likes it. Maybe he decides to stay and you can unlock something. Who knows? For $1 million and a waiver claim, it's not at all a bad gamble to take for a defense that just needs something. And perhaps if this is the key to getting Savage to the slot, then maybe it can be worth it. So let's move on to the injury report before I get to the main topic of the day. Yes, that man, Aaron Rodgers. Oh boy, the injury report. So there is so many guys who were limited or did not practice yesterday. Now, keep in mind, this is Wednesday's injury report. I am filming too early Thursday morning to know what the report is going to be for Thursday. This is Wednesday. Now, Thursday could look radically different. It could. I don't know if it will, but this is Wednesday's injury report. So here are the do not practices. David Bakhtiari, Chris Barnes, Devondre Campbell, Romeo Dobbs, Rashawn Gary, who now has been placed on IR. Shamar Jean-Charles, Elton Jenkins, Aaron Rodgers back to not practicing on a Wednesday. Eric Stokes, who we know is probably going to miss a lot of time. And Sammy Watkins. Now, one additional note on there, Eric Stokes. LaFleur said that he was hoping to know by the end of the week if Stokes would be able to play again this season or not. So, don't expect to see Stokes at practice anytime soon. Now, who are the limited participants in practice? Well, that would be kicker Mason Crosby. I don't know why. Rasul Douglas, Aaron Jones, that's a very good sign. Alan Lazard, John Runyon Jr., Preston Smith. And then there was one full participant in practice. They have to put him on the injury report because he was designated as out with a potential concussion. Christian Watson was a full participant in practice. So holy buckets, y'all. That is an injury list. That is a lengthy one. Going against Dallas, look, we know, I'm going to be talking about this in Friday's game preview. We know the only realm that Dallas struggles defensively is in the run game, which means you're really hoping Aaron Jones can get up for this game on Sunday. Boy, other than that, I mean, they got to get right. The lack of bye week to this point in the season and not having any time off of after London is looming incredibly large right now. It is looking like a massive miscalculation on the part of the Packers. So, let's move on to other miscalculations. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. QB1, QB12. current NFL quarterback, four-time MVP, otherwise known as thus far this year, a below-average quarterback by most metrics. I have thoughts. And I'm going to preface this by saying, just like I did in my last video, I am a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Check the face right there. That's an Aaron Rodgers bobblehead. I have, oh God, I think I got 6 of them. But I've been an Aaron Rodgers fan forever. I was one of the guys, and I know this means nothing to you, but like when everyone was praising at the idol of Favre and Rodgers could not get out of injuries, I was the one arguing with my dad about how Aaron Rodgers is going to be fine. Give him time. Well, this guy doesn't feel a whole lot like that guy. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's given me plenty of joy. I don't agree with him on everything. Lord knows he's an opinionated fella, and he says those opinions for sure. But there's a few things in the last couple of weeks that have really stuck in my craw. Whew, if you're not from the Midwest, that's a phrase for you. First, Mike McCarthy. We all know that with Dallas coming to town, this is Mike McCarthy's big homecoming game, right? Mike McCarthy, after coaching the Packers for 13 years, bringing home the Lombardi Trophy, getting a street named after him, he is coming home to Titletown, this time as coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And we know that Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy have a very extensive history. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl together. Some of Aaron Rodgers, and don't tell me it can't, some of Aaron Rodgers' success can be directly attributed to Mike McCarthy. Some of Mike McCarthy's success as a successful NFL coach is obviously attributed to his quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. But there's no denying that by the end of that tenure, by the end of Mike McCarthy being in Green Bay, there were problems between the two of them. There is no doubt about that. I don't doubt for a second that they had a special relationship when times were good. But there were obvious problems towards the end. And what I take issue with is Aaron Rodgers this week being asked by Matt Schneiderman, writer for The Athletic, how does it feel with Big Mike? And Aaron Rodgers said a lot of really, really positive things. That said that they've messaged to each other recently, that it was very positive. He used to pop over on Christmas Day to see Mike McCarthy's children and give gifts, and they were special. I don't doubt that they had an incredibly special bond. I don't doubt that right now, both of them, regardless of how it ended, look back on their time together incredibly favorably and fondly. But there was a snippet in that Schneiderman interview this week where Aaron Rodgers talked about the end of the McCarthy tenure, and again, Aaron Rodgers seemed to deflect off of himself. He would not take accountability for the fact that Mike McCarthy was no longer the Packer coach. And he said there was a new GM. He seemingly blamed it on the Packers executives all the way up to Mark Murphy. Because, when Mike first got there was Bob Harlan, and then eventually Mike oversaw all of this change. He survived all of this change. Going into Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy became president of the what? Packers in 2007? Mike McCarthy left in 2018. So Mark Murphy was so eager to get his own guy in there that he waited 11 years to do so? Come on. And then to say that it was Gutekunst or something. Come on, man. That's full of crap, and you know it. Maybe you didn't march directly into Brian Gutekunst's office. Maybe you didn't go parade to Mark Murphy. You know what you did? After your team beat the Buffalo Bills 22-0, you stood in a press conference and talked about how your offensive game plan was crap. Yeah. No, I'm sure the president and GM and everyone else, I'm sure they didn't hear that press conference. No, the entire country did, but I'm sure that they ignored that. It's not like you were subtly making known how you feel at all. It's not like that's what you do all the time. Come on, man. It's just crap. I don't doubt for a second that all of the quotes about looking back on their time fondly and being happy together and all of the special bond, I believe that. But to say that you had no say whatsoever in Mike McCarthy losing his job is a lie. It is a bold-faced lie. And you have proven to this point you have no issue lying to everyone. Realistically, you're probably lying to yourself too. The only way that's not true is if there are a million one things behind the scenes that never ever got talked about in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'm sorry, Aaron. There's no way. Now let's get beyond that. Let's talk about the offense this year. Okay? I mentioned it in the last video, throwing the ball at the receiver's feet and then saying, what are you doing? Catch the effing ball. Well, dude, stop throwing it at their feet. Stop throwing it into the ground. The interceptions, yes, after the Dallas game, he did get up there, and this is an exact quote, so I apologize, but he got up there, and he said there were definitely some shitty throws. Yeah, anyone who watched the game knows. And I know Kurt Warner this week came to the defense of Aaron Rodgers because there's one very popular video, one very popular screenshot going around of Aaron Rodgers who takes the snap, and then he's got two receivers breaking open towards the middle. He's also got A.J. Dillon on a little check down, and he decides to throw to none of them at all, and instead he takes a sack. And Kurt Warner stood up and said, nay. He put out a video analysis saying that, this isn't entirely on Rodgers. He very much came to the defense of Rodgers, saying that the entire offensive play was a mess. Okay, fine. You get that one. How about the litany of other clips from the last month of guys running open and Rodgers not throwing on the ball? Aaron Rodgers was asked yesterday, too, about the offense. Look, people aren't dumb. They know what the Matt LaFleur offense is supposed to look like. It's a lot of bunch, it's a lot of trips, it's a lot of motion, it's a lot of deception, right? Confusion in simplicity is what Matt LaFleur preached when he came on initially. They're not doing that much at all. They're just not. So they're doing a lot of RPOs. They're doing stuff like that. But the whole confusion and simplicity thing is gone, right? And Aaron Rodgers, talking this week, said that he believes that the offense right now is more by the LaFleur book than it's been at any time that Matt LaFleur has been here. If that's the case, Matt LaFleur has completely and utterly forgotten his identity. Right? Right? Because we're not seeing it. It's not there. And then Aaron Rodgers goes on national TV, talks for everyone, because that's what he does, and he says, we're more by the LaFleur book that we've been. No. Either we were all wrong on the book, which seems unlikely considering that 2020 was a record-setting offensive year, or again, something is not being said in 1265 Lombardi. It's just that simple. Really. You can't sit there and say that we're doing things more by the book and then go out there and play freaking hero ball with Al Lazard with one shoulder. Whether or not this offense schemes people open seems not to matter at all because God knows he's not throwing the ball there. One last point. And this is a big fear of mine coming into the year. I have talked about it extensively, but the leadership of the Green Bay Packers is completely and utterly broken. Aaron Rodgers said that he did not want to be Brett Favre with this will he, won't he, come back, maybe retire, whatever thing, right? And yet, we have negative consequences on the roster. Davante Adams, we don't know all the inner workings there, but Davante Adams quite possibly being one of them. I'm not saying Rodgers is at fault for Davante leaving. I'm not even saying it's anyone's fault, but I'm saying it sure as hell didn't help. And now we're getting reports out of from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, who generally is pretty spot on with his stuff. He's not Adam Schefter. Saying that he's hearing of unrest in the Packers locker room. He's hearing that the young wide receivers are not happy by continually being thrown under the bus in such a visible way by Aaron Rodgers. Well, what a shock. You want to compare Aaron Rodgers' leadership style to that of Rashawn Gary. Go ahead. Because I've been saying for weeks, Aaron Rodgers needs to shut up and sit in the back. The Packers team needs to start turning over who its leadership is, because Aaron Rodgers does not relate to the rookie. Aaron Rodgers does not relate to these guys. He is a myth. He is a legend. Aaron Rodgers walking through the halls of 1265 Lombardi is a real human being, but in the minds of the rookies and the minds of the young guys, whether they're like Devontae Wyatt and have lunch with him or not, he is a myth. He is a legend. He is not a real person. The name Aaron Rodgers is more real to them than he may be. So they don't necessarily relate to him. He's old as dirt. But Rashawn Gary, Jair Alexander, David Bakhtiari even talking about there's team-wide discussions right now about you have the ending of a legacy in Aaron Rodgers. Don't let it down. What the? If you're playing for Aaron Rodgers and you're not playing for the Green Bay Packers, you're doing it wrong. It's not about playing for Aaron Rodgers. He is one cog in a 53-man unit that's trying to win a game. One part. You play for the Green Bay Packers. You don't play for Aaron Rodgers. And even then, what did David Bakhtiari allude to? The legacy. Supposedly, that's what we were told on the Fox telecast. When Josh Allen had a rough game and hurt his elbow in the last Buffalo game, and I know a lot of people are comping Aaron Rodgers to Josh Allen right now, as they should be. But Josh Allen gets hurt, and Deion Dawkins, his left tackle, says, I'm going to fight somebody for that man. You see anybody in the Packers saying that about Aaron Rodgers right now? No, what are they saying? They're saying that they have to uphold the legacy of Aaron Rodgers. You know, when you're playing with the great Aaron Rodgers, not, dude's my friend, I'm going to bite off a toe for him. No, you don't hear that. When Rashawn Gary went down with his torn ACL, you know what Kingsley Enagbare said? Rashawn Gary immediately went to all the outside linebackers and said, hey, I know I'm out, but I am in this. Whatever you guys need for the rest of the year, I am there for you. Whatever it is, I am there. Because Rashawn Gary is a teammate, is a leader. What benefit could have come from Aaron Rodgers coming to OTAs? I don't know. I probably would have been negligible, right? I mean, dudes running routes in shorts is not the same thing as real football. Yeah, I get it. I know. But maybe it would have meant something to the rookies for Aaron Rodgers, the big, the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Rodgers, to actually show up. You're looking at guys who have, 16-year age differences? 17-year age differences? I know. OTAs are dumb. Aaron Rodgers thinks they're dumb. Any veteran thinks they're dumb. Rashawn Gary was there on one of the days that none of the veterans had to be. I will just point that out. And this team probably could use more Rashawn Garys. Probably could use a little less Aaron Rodgers. I've been a big fan of Aaron Rodgers for a long time, but sometimes a mix just grows volatile. It just does. I'm so hoping that they can turn it around. But look, I just listed the problems. That's not recognizing the problems is how you solve problems, right? Well, here it is. Aaron Rodgers, stop being the mouthpiece of the Green Bay Packers. I want to hear from Matt LaFleur. Brian Gutekunst, come down from your damn office and hold a press conference. I don't need to hear from Aaron Rodgers about his thoughts on the trade deadline. I want to hear about him getting ready to play. I want to hear about him getting on the same page as his rookie receivers who, frankly, I don't doubt for a second are growing miffed at the fact that they are constantly being thrown under the bus. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't care. You don't do that. It's not good leadership. You want to throw them under the bus in the media publicly? Then you better set them up for success in the next game. Because the second that you do that, if you're going to throw them under the bus and then you're not going to help them be successful, now you're just an asshole. Waiting for Aaron Rodgers to change that this year. I'm not throwing away his legacy. I'm not tarnishing the name of Aaron Rodgers. So fanboys, stand down. What I am saying is his leadership right now is deficient. It is not good enough for the 2022 Green Bay Packers. And if they have any chance of saving this season, he'll learn from it and adapt. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this video of Lombardi Time Brews. Man, I gotta go calm down now. But I hope you enjoyed this video of Lombardi Time Brews. As always, I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. Check back tomorrow for the game preview of Big Mike's big return. Cowboys, Packers at Lambeau Field. I'm very excited to dive into that one with you tomorrow. So please, as always, go have yourselves a great day. And go Pack Go.